Back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is? It's Renovation Nation time. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I always say, another day. Here we are on a Saturday, live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chad Rowland, owner of RTM Roofing, host of this crazy show. Yeah, it's another day. It's been a crazy week. We've had a lot of stuff going on, and I'm gonna get into that today. But first, I wanna give a shout out back to Miss Sarah Rowland, who did a fabulous job last week. Even though some of the connections from her dorm through the interwebs was a little scrambled at times. That was great. You know, I don't often get to talk to my daughter in a way that I can get stuff out of her. But when she knows she's on the air, she's got to answer questions. And it was great. I got a lot of text and emails and phone calls about that show. So, Lindenwood Lions, they're playing later today, which I'll be at down in Atlanta, against Life University. And, if I'm thinking correctly, I'm pretty sure Life is number one in the country right now in the D1 elite, as I messed up. Oh, my earpiece is just not doing what it's supposed to. But number one in the country, if I think I'm right, at least in the D1 elite. But Lindenwood is transitioning to I can't think today, NCAA. So nevertheless, they're playing Life later today, and that's basically number one against number one, even though they did beat Lindenwood about 3 or 4 weeks ago at home. It was whoever got the ball last won. I mean, it's that intense. But it was a good show. I had a blast. It's always good to be able to talk to my daughter. But now we're going to get on into some things today. Now, last Sunday, I think it was, there was a hailstorm came through. And I'd have to pull it up real quick, but there was some in Franklin, there was some in Nolensville, Laverne, up towards Lebanon, and just that diagonal going from Franklin to Lebanon. If you go look at the map, if you're anywhere in that, I'll call it a 15-mile stretch of a 15-mile gap, that's probably, I don't know how many miles that is long, 100 miles long, I don't know. But there was a lot of, we've got a few calls from that already, and I've seen a lot of reports. And some people have damage and some people don't. And I'm gonna go into that today because I touched on it last week. And I've always sort of tiptoed around it just in general. You know, it's like, I don't like smacking bees' nests, not that I even think I'm doing that. But at the same point in time, the roofing industry or the roofing sales industry or call industry or whatever you want to call it has changed since I got in. And to rewind a little bit, when did I get in? Well, I got in this industry, at least on the sales side of it, in 2011, October 15th, 2011, to be honest. And not that I'm lying, but still, my wife always goes, well, be honest with me. Well, but same point in time, this earpiece is getting me. You got to give me 1 second here. Let me, if I even got the right couple one in, no, I'm right. It's left ear. Okay, so there we go. All right, that's better. Well, when I got in this industry, the company I went to work for didn't get a lot of calls. Matter of fact, I mean, maybe a lead a week or something. I know their sort of model was, you know, they'd done repairs and replacements over the years and just, you know, sort of word of mouth, this and that. And then storms started hitting and people started going, yeah, it's time for my insurance to buy me a roof. Yeah, that might have been back in the day, but it's not that way. It's not that way anymore. And rightly so. I mean, if you got damage, you got damage. If you wrecked your car, bad enough that you got to repair it and it's less than or more than your deductible, then yeah, that's when you call insurance. But if you don't have any damage, you don't call insurance. I mean, it is a game. I call it a game. By the way, this is all my just personal opinion and experience over since 2011. What is that? 14 years. And so when I started this company, they weren't getting leads. I say that, but you know what I mean. And the model was you door knocked. But door knocking back then, now there were some corporate models doing a few things like this. I call it corporate models, just the other way. Let me put it that way. I'm not knocking corporations. I'm a limited liability corporation. But my model's different at RTM Roofing. And it's different only because of the way I started. Because I'm not saying I wouldn't have started a roofing company eventually and took the door knocking model, as number one, and then number 2, 3, or 4, whatever else to keep business. But I didn't. I started with, if I see missing shingles or, flipped upside down shingles laying in your yard, shingles just missing all over your roof, I would knock your door. I'd pull right up and, and I've had doors slammed in my face. I've had people yell at me, and now I can say this now because we don't door knock at RTM Roofing. If we door knock you, that's because we're at your neighbor's house and we're coming over to say, hey, we're replacing their roof. We're doing a repair here, large repair here that was, insurable damage, not just standard maintenance. And, if any debris flies over, if anything else, we're going to clean it up. But, it's construction, stuff goes places. And so on and so forth. And if you want us to check your roof while we're there, we're happy to do it. But that's not why we're knocking. We're knocking just to let you know we're next door, making noise, stuff going everywhere. If something inconveniences you, please come over and talk to our field manager, and he'll correct the situation. But I helped more people than slammed the door on me. And I actually would turn around, and after I'd be like, I understand, no problem, I'm out of here. Just I can't stop from. I cannot stop myself from not. Dadgum, people are blowing me up. I can't stop myself from just blowing up, and stopping my car and going, hey, you've got damage. So I would turn around and walk away and go back to my truck and laugh. Because you know why I would laugh? Because I would slam the same door too. I might eventually get a product that someone's knocking on my door to sell. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. This is America. Free will for whatever that's worth. That I just don't like it not being my idea. I think that's the biggest thing. Because if it's not my idea, then I go back to what I was sort of, I guess, the way I was not raised, but how I grew up, seeing the traditional, the 70s and 80s used car salesman, and there's nothing wrong with used car salesmen. I've had used cars all my life. But the old, it's like lawyers. Everybody thinks every lawyer is the bad guy, but there's good guys out there. Everybody thinks of all the roofers out there are just here to take your money, but there are some good guys. And there's good and bad in all of it. But the point being is that if I get door knocked, I'm immediately shutting off. So that's why I would laugh when I turn around. I'm like, that's what I would have done. But you'd be surprised the people that would call me back going, because then they would get investigative. They'd start investigating. They'd start walking around their house. The first they're like, get out of here, I don't need anything. And then sometime after I left, they'd walk around. I'd get a call the next day going, hey, come on back out here. Let's see what you think. And I would. But nowadays, the model seems to be that we get hail reports, wind reports, hail reports, hail recon. There's all these, reports, because if you ever file a claim, you've got to give a date. That always cracks me up because I might not have been home when the damage happened. So that's why the hail recons and stuff out there, the insurance go by, or whichever ones they do. I forget all of them. But nevertheless, there's a date. It's logged. It's on the record. There's no doubt there's a storm came through there. Now, whether it did damage at your house or not, that's where it gets interesting. That's really where, the rubber hits the road. For if only the reason that I've been on, I don't know, let me think about this, at least three to four roofs in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. It's been the last time since I talked to you. So 2 weeks, because last week I talked about it too. And some buddies of mine got door knocked. And it wasn't just them specifically. It was their whole street. I mean, that was the thing. You went door. The new model is it's going door to door to door to door. And I call it a numbers game. Now, if it's like Hermitage back in, 2012 when the hailstorm came through and it damaged, I don't know what it was, 60-something thousand structures from Dixon to Lebanon or whatever, just basically all of I-40 from outside Nashville all the way through it. You could see the damage from the ground. That's the only time, other than missing shingles, I believe that's the only time I've walked up and you could see it. It was just like a shotgun hit it. Now I'm talking about hail, because that's what came through Nolensville and whatever, the Laverne and, from Franklin to Lebanon, draw a diagonal line through that area last Sunday, the 25th of March. And, but going back to that model, it's a numbers game because, there might be an older roof there if it was nickel size, pea size, that got damaged. But your roof might have been 5 or 6 or 7 years old. Well, it can usually take, nickel to pea size hail, as long as it's not blowing up, 140 mile an hour. That's what cracks me up about insurance. There's only half-inch hail that came through here. I said, yeah, but it was doing 80 for 20 minutes. Won't you stand out in some hail for 80 for 20 minutes and see what it does to you? But, it is what it is. When we come back, I'm going to jump into more of this because you need to know this information to protect yourself. You're listening to Renovation Nation. We'll see you in here. Welcome to RTM Roofing Commercial Division. Not only do we do replacements, we also do commercial repairs. Budgeting for you. And when times like this happen and you need to stop the water, you can't just change a panel. You roll over it. With RTM and Everest Roofing Systems. Their products are beyond any that I've ever worked with. And at RTM Roofing, we only use the best. And it doesn't cost as much as the rest. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751.